Hello, and welcome to day 27. Today we're going to talk about spirituality, kind of what it is and what it isn't. Spirituality is similar to kind of health in that we all have it in our lives. We either have good health or bad health, but we don't always pay attention to it. Spirituality is the same way. We either have a good high dose of it in our day or a low dose. It's really up to you. For a large portion of my life, I kind of fit in the latter category of not thinking about spirituality that much and kind of thinking of it as a dogmatic practice where there's only one way to do it. But in reality, it's an individual practice, and it's kind of what you make of it. There's a great quote by Rumi that I really like to kind of look back on, and he says, "There's 1,000 ways to kneel and kiss the ground." And that's kind of what spirituality is kind of submitting to a power greater than yourself, realizing that you're not the one in total control. And that's where the good stuff lies. That's kind of the power of spirituality, is that it's a tool to make the world less about you and more just kind of about the greater scheme of things. That you don't have to be the one who has total control, that makes all the decisions. And that's a beautiful thing. So when you implement it into your daily life, that could come in the form of journaling, meditation, prayer, whatever you want it to be. And you can define it any way you want. You could call that greater power God, Allah, nature. It's really up to you. It's really about kind of creating some predictability in your life. Because stress at its root is about life being unpredictable, not knowing what's going to happen next. And spirituality is about kind of having something unchanging that's always there. The breath's a great example, something that kind of you can go back to, that's in the background, that can calm you down. Because in my eyes, spirituality is really about that invisible glue that holds it all together, that background that we have to take time and say thank you to. That invisible glue could be gravity that we don't really earn but helps us stay on the ground. It could be dark matter in the sky that keeps the universe together. Or that could be glial cells in your brain that are called glue cells. There's 85% of those cells that make up most of your brain. And those glue cells keep everything together. They hold everything together. So spirituality is really kind of stopping and giving thanks to that silence, that stillness that is really holding everything together. And you can kind of do this in a multitude of ways. One way that I like to do is kind of burn a little bit of sage in the morning. I know it's a little hippie, but at that time I say 5 things I'm grateful for, and that helps me focus on what I have in my life versus kind of what most of the time I do, which is focus on what I need or what I want to get. So spirituality is really taking a moment to pause and reflect and realize that there's a silence back in the background that isn't empty, and that's really helping you out. So in my eyes, we really have 2 choices as a spiritual being. You could either be a human doing or a human being. A human doing jumps from A to B to C without much conscious thought of what's going on. A human being takes a moment to pause and reflect and give thanks to the world around them and make the world a little bit less about themselves. So for today's self-reflection, we're going to look at the different ways you can implement spirituality into your daily practice. But that's all I have for today. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.